There's been a lot of attack against science-based lifting as of late because of recent developments in the fitness industry, including Mike Israetel's PhD and Jeff Nippard seemingly pivoting, defending fake natties. A lot of Jeff Nippard stuff lately. So that's who we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be watching a video from Zerk Fitness called The Nippard Pivot. And yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about why people are losing respect for Jeff Nippard because, yes, he provides high-quality content. Yes, he provides good fitness advice in some circumstances, but him, just like every other fitness influencer, seems to become a victim to the ever-changing algorithm and needing to sort of, pivot, no pun intended, in order to stay relevant. And unfortunately, telling people to do the basics and progressively overload, which is all you really need to do, and eat, that doesn't get views for a very long time, so things need to consistently change. So we're going to be checking out this video, guys, and let me know what you think in the comment section, and yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so this is a video essentially reacting to what the guy calls, again, the Jeff Nippard pivot, which is basically he's been selling high volume programs for a extended period of time, like the last 10 years, and now he's switching to low volume. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with the idea that science not necessarily changes, but new evidence is found. So what we consider evidence-based has to reflect new findings. Science does this all the time, right? When new data points are found, we shift our understanding in order to accommodate all the data points. We don't just completely abandon one thing and then go to the other thing. That's so for example, right? Before Einstein came around with his theory of special relativity, everybody used Newtonian mechanics to describe the celestial phenomena. When Einstein came around, we didn't just throw out Newtonian mechanics. Einstein's model incorporates it. And anyway, long story short, not to get too nerdy, when science, when new evidence is found, science doesn't just completely throw away an old model that had, predictive power. It incorporates it. Whereas with science-based lifting, and I'm not saying Jeff does this, but a lot of people, they'll see one study, right, which is completely different than something that can make tangible predictions, by the way. One datum is not the same as a predictive model, but they'll see one study and change up their entire program based off of it. Now, Jeff's talking about this low volume program, which I think is much better than his ridiculous volume maxing that he usually does. And a lot of people are upset about that because basically it feels like he's been selling these high volume programs forever, and now he's just throwing that away, which he isn't, but we'll get into that.
I wanted to see what would happen if I went from doing my usual 3 to 4 sets per exercise down to just one all-out set, sometimes 2. Would I lose muscle? For as long as I've been training, I've always been a pretty high-volume guy. For one, that's the way the bodybuilding greats like Arnold,
they're all on steroids,
Ronnie Coleman, and Jay Cutler all trained, and it's also what the science suggested was most optimal.
Again, when it comes to what the science suggested, a lot of these studies just are non-starters right from the get-go. DEXA scan, study's pretty much useless. If they're using a DEXA scan or an in-body scan, it's basically a useless study because you can't you can't get accurate measurements with these devices, and then the studies are too short. Oftentimes everything's within the margin of error anyway. Unless they're using an MRI, it's pretty much a useless study as far as hypertrophy is concerned. And then even a lot of the powerlifting studies, they're using are like strength studies. They're using bench press, which is better, I guess, than deadlift or squat, especially squat's horrible. Why are you using squat as a benchmark for strength in a scientific study where you're trying to cut out variables, right? Squat is not a prediction of how strong you are in a vacuum. There's the technical aspect, there's balance, right? There's all these different things. They should be using machines for all these studies.
He built an entire empire on the idea that more is better. He had the studies, he had the charts, he had the glasses on. He told you, according to the 2017 meta-analysis, you need to do 20 sets per muscle per week to optimize hypertrophy.
Honestly, if you're pushing hard, that's way too many.
And y'all listened. You were in the gym for 2-3 hours a day. You were doing 4 sets of bench, 4 sets of incline, 4 sets of flies, 4 sets of push-ups. You were destroying your joints, missing meals, all because the little science man said it was optimal. He created a culture of overthinking. If you weren't tracking your mesocycle volume, you weren't training.
Yeah, it's become like a pendulum, right? So before it was all bro stuff, right? Like just, you know, anabolic window, you have to do this specific thing, and then a lot of it was like myths, right? And then there's a lot of bullshit in old school fitness, right? Like 6-pack shortcuts and all those guys. But then the pendulum swung so far the other way, it basically became the same thing. Now everything's hyper optimal to the point where it's not optimal anymore. There needs to be a sort of you got to be reasonable about these things, right? Evidence-based lifting has its place, but trying to hyper optimize and min-max is not optimal for most people, right? If an exercise that you hate is going to give you maybe 1% more stimulus, it's not better than just doing an exercise you enjoy.
But now, look at the pivot. Look at the title of the video. I cut my workout in half. He comes out and says, actually guys, low volume is kind of the wave. I just do 1 or 2 hard sets now. It feels great. Now, a regular person might watch that and say, oh wow, Jeff learned something new. Science evolved. Nah, please. The science didn't.
Like, it feels like he saw the trend of people basically like following Mike Mentzer and those low volume guys, Yates, etc. And he's trying to like capitalize on the trend. To be fair, and I don't know if AI muscle man over here is going to tell us, but to be fair, Jeff does say keep the volumes higher during bulks and maintenance phases, and you can lower the volume during cuts. But his 2 programs, that like the one he was doing versus what he's doing now, there's such a big difference in volume. I think adding that much volume back in during a bulk is way too much anyway. Like his high volume programs, the 57 sets for glutes for women, his program asking you to do 4 sets of 6 reps on 85% of your bench press max, like impossible programs like that. I don't care if you're bulking, they're not good.
Change. The market changed. Jeff Nippard is a businessman. He looks at the trends. And what is trending right now? Who is the biggest fitness influencer in the world right now? Sam Sulek. And what does Sam Sulek do? Does he use a spreadsheet? Does he talk about moment arms? Does he cite studies from 1994? No. Sam Sulek walks into the gym, puts on a hat, lifts the heaviest shit in the room until his face turns purple, gets a pump, and goes home to eat chocolate milk. He is the anti-Jeff.
Yeah, again, it's this pendulum swinging, right? It used to be all about, push hard, be a man, right? Then it switched to, well, actually, you need this. And now it's going back to the old, like, yeah, push hard, stop being a bitch. Which, like, vibe check-wise, I like the a lot better. But, like, again, there needs to be, like, a middle ground. Like, well, when people just say, like, oh, just lift hard, bro. Like, that's not very useful. You still need like a structure to your program. Like, you still need to make sure you're hitting all the muscles, right? Like, if you just did the big 3, you'd be missing out on like lat development, bicep development. Like you need to have a good mix of things. But like I guess you could say the big 5 pretty much give you what you need if you're able to do them. And then like some accessory work on top of that, and that's it, right? You don't need to do like one arm behind the head, upside down with your cock out bicep curls in order to get like 2% more resistance. Like, you don't need to worry about any of that shit. Just do the basic lifts.
And Jeff sees this. He looks at his analytics. He sees the kids aren't clicking on 20-page meta-analysis anymore.
Also, like, all these guys that like, oh, well, Arnold did this and this guy did that, they're all on fucking steroids. You're not on steroids. Maybe you are, but I'm not on steroids, so I ain't following that shit.
They are clicking.
Also, like as a natural lifter, you're not gonna look like a fucking tumor like these giant bodybuilders. Doesn't matter how hard you train. So like, curb those expectations. Like, I had one person comment on one of my videos like, oh, you don't look that big. And I'm like, first of all, if you see me in person, a lot of people think I'm decently big. Like, I don't look huge just sitting around, right? I'm also not on steroids. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You don't look like unless you're taking something.
On heavy duty. They are watching Mike Mentzer clips on TikTok. The culture shifted back to the meathead era. So what does Jeff do?
Yeah, he's right. It is going back to the meathead era.
Does he admit that the bros were right all along? Does he admit that Dorian Yates told us this in 1992? Hell no. He gentrifies it. He takes the concept of high-intensity training, which is gritty, dirty dungeon gym shit, and he cleans it up. He puts a lab coat on it. He runs a $40,000
Jeff Nippard gentrifying training is wild.
experiment to prove what every inmate in San Quentin already knows. He is Columbusing high-intensity training. He landed on the shores of Lift Heavy and stuck a flag in it like, I discovered this. I call it the Min-Max method.
In the meantime, if you're looking for a low-volume, high-intensity program like the one that I ran during this challenge, you can get my brand new Min-Max.
Oh, like see min-max, like him even calling that's a meme. Like too many of these optimal guys are trying to min-max every little factor, and they're not bodybuilders. They're not competing. A lot of them aren't even really trying to get stronger, which is crazy. Like there's a lot of guys that just do pump and fluff shit, and they don't even progressively overload, but then they call themselves science-based. Like it doesn't even make sense. Like make it make sense.
Program over at jeffnippard.com, and it's 25% off.
Like you're supposed to get stronger week to week. I'm not saying 1 rep max, right? But you should be getting stronger, if not week to week, like over time, right? Like in a trend. If you're more advanced, you're going to specialize and stuff like that. But you should be getting stronger over time. If you're just doing the same thing over and over again, you're not science-based.
For launch week.
Bro, that is just lifting weights. It's like when McDonald's started selling salads. They didn't care about health. They just saw that people stopped buying Big Macs, so they pivoted to keep the customers. Jeff realizes that people are tired of the spreadsheets, so he is rebranding common sense as a revolutionary scientific breakthrough. He's saying, hey, did you know if you try really hard, you don't have to do as much work?
We've known this for a long time, that if you do 1/9 of your volume, you can still keep your muscle.
No shit, Jeff. If you sprint, you don't have to jog for an hour. But he wraps it in this science packaging so he can sell it back to the nerds who were too scared to just be a bro. It's okay, Timothy. You aren't just lifting heavy like a brute. You are maximizing the stimulus to fatigue ratio via high-intensity motor unit recruitment. It's the same shit. It's just a different label on the bottle. So I ain't mad at Jeff. He saw the ship sinking, and he hopped onto the lifeboat of high intensity.
Oh, he sunk with the ship when he defended Mike Israetel. Like, if you guys have seen the Solomon response, Jeff did not look good in that video, man. Commenting, like, talking bare shit and then being wrong and then just deleting his comments and stuff. Like, Jeff Nippard seems like the type of guy that's really nice on camera, but, like, I feel like in real life when nobody's looking, he's probably like, fuck all you guys are fucking idiots, I'm the best. Like, he gives me that vibe. Do I have proof for that? No. Will you convince me otherwise? Probably not.
But don't let him gaslight you into thinking this is new. The bros have been here for 40 years, waiting for the nerves to catch up. Now watch how he justifies the switch. Watch the linguistic gymnastics this man performs. He drops this term, the focus effect. He says, I call it the focus effect.
Yeah.
When you know you only have 1 or 2 sets to get the job done, you lock in. You bring the intensity. The focus effect.
Yeah, so this is something that, like, the focus effect, right? Like, if you do less sets, you can give more intensity. People have been saying this for years. And all these volume guys were like, no, volume is the best. All these studies that are 8 weeks long and did this and that show a dose effect response. And it's like, you don't have any good long-term studies to talk about this, number one. Number two, a lot of these studies are using, like, either people that don't weightlift regularly or are athletes, but they're like soccer players and stuff like that. They don't have any like experienced gym goers do these studies that aren't gonna get newbie gains from them, right? Like, and then 8 weeks is another thing too, right? So let's say you do some crazy volume program for 8 weeks that you've never done before. That might give you a bunch of stimulus in that 8 weeks, and then you might just fucking crash and burn, right? Like, your body's gonna adapt quickly at first, but then you're just gonna get fucked. Like, your CNS is gonna get fucked, right? So a lot of these studies are just bullshit off the start, because again, no MRI. 8 weeks isn't a long enough time to determine, like, whether or not it's something that's sustainable for a long period of time. And then with this whole, like, the focus effect, right? Yeah, you can't have volume and intensity, right? Like they're not. I mean, you can, obviously, like, you can have a certain amount of volume, a certain amount of intensity, but volume is here. Get this in the camera. Intensity is here. Okay. So if I have volume and intensity, if I bring volume this way, intensity follows. If I bring intensity this way, volume follows, right? So as intensity goes up, volume has to go down. As volume goes up, intensity has to go down. So you can't have both. If you're, and people will say, well, Ronnie was blasting. Okay, stop comparing yourself to steroid users unless you're a steroid user.
Fact, bro, that is just
He was also a genetic phenom.
trying hard. But see, Jeff is smart. He knows he can't sell effort. He can't copyright grinding. So he has to scienceify it. He has to give it a medical sounding name.
To be fair, like looking at it under the lens of science is completely fine. It's just the fact that Jeff likes to sort of pivot along with the YouTube algorithm and thinks that nobody's smart enough to see what he's doing.
The focus effect. He is selling you tap water and calling it hydration serum. He's selling you air and calling it oxygen therapy. And then he tells on himself. He drops the confession. He says, during my high volume workouts, my focus would taper off. I go on my phone, I start socializing, the workout would drag on.
Yeah.
So for the last 5 years, when you were telling us that high volume was optimal, you were sitting on the leg press machine,
Fucking
scrolling
around.
TikTok.
Yeah.
He's admitting that the science-based method
Too much volume doesn't work. I've tried high volume. I've gotten way better strength gains just doing lower volume.
failed because it was boring.
And I'm not saying completely minimalist. Like, I think I do about like moderate volume, but like you have to see what you can recover from and then adjust from there. If you're in a cut, you're going to have to do less volume. They used to prescribe the same volume in a cut, which doesn't even make sense. Just from like a caloric energy perspective. You need to cut your volume back during a cut. Like you just have to. If you don't, you're going to fry yourself.
You can
And if you're watching thinking like, no, I don't have to do that, bro, you're probably still in the beginner phase.
not maintain killer instinct for 3 hours. Jeff had to spend 100 days and
Like, don't tell me I don't need to cut my volume back when your max bench is like 185 pounds. Like, shut the fuck up.
$40,000 to discover that if you actually pay attention to what you were doing, you get better results.
Yeah, you just got to lock
Wow.
in.
Get his man a
Lock in and focus. You don't need
Nobel
the focus
Prize.
effect.
just lift the damn weight, Jeff. But he can't. He has to package it. He has to wrap trying hard in a bow so he can sell it to the guys who are scared to sweat. Why is Jeff Nippard telling us all this now? Is it because he wants us to be free? Hell no. It's because he launched a new product.
Yep.
The Min Max program. He says, if you want a low volume, high intensity program, buy my new guide. It's 25% off for launch week. There it is. Do you see the hustle?
And then, yeah, if you guys watch the Solomon video, like, I wouldn't buy a program from Jeff. I'm sorry. Like, impossible programs, having to hire Solomon, and then pretending you didn't work with the guy. Like, not even out of like morality, I wouldn't trust one of his programs because his programs so far, from what I've seen, have been proven to be bad. So,
Do you see the brilliance?
if you guys need a program on how to gain muscle, first of all, you could just make it yourself, right? Like, that's what I do. But I'll like, what I'll do is, like, if I'm looking for like something specific, you can search it up on Google, find a bunch of free like oh, do this, like a free template, right? And then just add things based on your goals. Like, if you're trying to specialize a little bit with side delts or whatever, you might want to add some more lateral raises and upright rows. If you and you know, reduce volume in other spots. But if you're just looking for like a basic program, just literally just Google it. Like, you don't need to buy these crazy programs that these guys are selling. Like, if you're at a stage where you can't make your own program because you don't know which exercises target which muscles and like which rules you need to follow. Like, for example, it's good to have a row, like a horizontal row and a vertical pull for back, right? As well as something for the lower back, like deadlifts or back extension, whatever, right? So there's 3 different like main back exercises, and you might not know that if you're a beginner. If you're that early on in your you know, fitness journey, that's fine. Just Google like basic you know, hypertrophy program or basic power building program. Whatever's there, just literally follow it. You don't need anything specialized. You don't need to follow mesocycles and stuff. This is all stuff for like when you got a few years into the gym.
Step 1, sell you the high volume Bible.
Like, even me. So I've only been working out again. I stopped for a long time after I had kids. I've only been back to the gym for like just over a year. And like so a lot of people, like when they see me in person, they think I got a lot stronger really fast, but muscle memory is the thing, right? But even with my muscle memory, I'm still like at a stage where I don't need to worry that much about all these mesocycles and stuff. Like, I'm basically just, I have the program I made. I cut the volume back if I'm cutting. I add some volume if I'm bulking, and that's it. And it's been giving me some pretty good results. Like, after what, like a month of being back to working out, I was already benching 2 plates again. I just benched 280. So I'm working back up to, I want to get back up to 315 bench. All natural, by the way. Like, if you don't think 315 is a high bench, you're crazy. Because people who do 405 are usually on roids, and those who do it natural are either giant in terms of fat, or they're phenoms.
Tell you to do 20 sets, make you hate the gym. Step 2, wait for you to get tired and depressed. Step 3, sell you the minimalist cure.
Yep.
He created the disease.
And then in a few years, it'll swing back to volume.
Overtraining, and now he's selling you the vaccine. Undertraining. It's the perfect business model. It's like a dentist handing out Jolly Ranchers in the waiting room. Here, ruin your teeth so I can fix them later.
Yeah.
He calls it min-max.
I have a hard time trusting a lot of these guys who are selling you stuff.
That sounds like some Dungeons and Dragons shit. He knows his audience. He knows you nerds love to min-max your stats in World of Warcraft, so he's using that language to sell you a workout plan that is basically just...
And look, I'm a dork. I'm a nerd too, right? So like seeing all the graphs and stuff, like when I first saw this this new wave of like fitness content, I was like, oh, this looks so interesting. But then as I got more and more into it, I got really skeptical, and I'm like, oh, this is just like, this is literally just the old school like bullshit repackaged.
Do less work. He realized that normal people have lives. So instead of losing those customers, he pivoted.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have time? No problem. Give me $50 and I'll tell you how to work out for 20 minutes. So what is the lesson here? Jeff Nippard is a smart guy. I give him that. But he is a trend chaser. He rode the high volume wave until it crashed into the rocks. Now he's riding the Mike Mincer heavy duty wave because that's what the TikTok algorithm likes right now. But mark my words, in 2 years, when people get bored of doing one set,
Yep.
he's gonna drop a video called Why I Went Back to High Volume.
Yep.
And he's gonna sell you the Volume Resurrection Program.
See, the problem with being an evidence-based creator and selling programs is that if he were to say, you know what, guys, I was wrong, volume is not king, he would have a bunch of people wanting refunds on the volume programs that he made. And not only that, he will lose potential new customers on his volume program. So he needs to play this constant like middle ground, but also shift at the same time. Otherwise, he'll lose customers, right? He doesn't want to invalidate his old work. So he says, no, this stuff's still good, trust me, but this one's also good in this circumstance. And different programs are good in different circumstances. If you're someone who doesn't push hard, then yeah, you need more volume. But if you're someone who does push hard, and then people are telling you to do high volume and high intensity, they're either on steroids or they're just trying to sell you shit. So yeah, AI muscle man, I thought robot muscle man, I don't know what this thing is, but anyways, again, channel name here, Zerk Fitness. You can go check them out if you're interested. That's pretty much all I had to say about this situation. What do you guys think? Do you think that Jeff Nippard's just pivoting? Do you think he's genuine? After seeing the whole Solomon situation, I have a lot of doubt in Jeff Nippard's intentions lately. So let me know what you guys think, and thank you for watching. Peace.